This week in the League of Legends, we'll be going over the updates on the PvE, including Elemental Dragons, Mage Updates, and on live we'll be reviewing patch 6.8. All this and more on the Spastic Gaming web show.
This is Water Elemental.
And this is Axis, and we are here today to talk about the League of Legends. This is an ongoing show where we talk about everyone's favorite MOBA-style battle game. This week we've got a bunch of crazy stuff coming out on the PvE server, and it's massive for a mid-season update. So we're just going to go over it all. Some of it might change, but this is an official release, which is the main reason why we're talking about it. So let's jump right in with the Elemental Dragons. Now the logistics of this is you'll see a little icon on the dragon's lair, and then a dragon of that type will spawn. And you'll get a different buff on your character that will sort of carry out what this buff is and change what it does and all kinds of crazy stuff. And the dragons will behave in combat differently. After a couple of dragon kills, you'll get an Elder Dragon, and that'll enhance all the buffs that you previously got and give you a new enhanced buff.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go over the 4 Elemental Dragons and then the Elder Dragon, starting with Fire Dragon. It will increase the champion killing power, augments your dueling and team fighting abilities. The Earth Dragon, dealing increased damage to turrets and epic monsters, and augments your ability to take objectives. The Water Dragon increases health and mana regeneration, and it augments your ability to siege and poke. Your Air Dragon increases your out-of-combat movement speed, and augments your ability to maneuver opponents on the map. After 35 minutes into the game, all future dragon spawns become the Elder Dragon. When defeated, he will give you a buff that will give you a burn over time spell on your spells and attacks, and buff that is stronger for each elemental stack you have. So early into the game, you want to get as many dragons as you can, so they will be enhanced by the Elder Dragon.
This is seriously important stuff, and this is going to change the way this game is played, to be sure. Now, each of the dragons behaves differently in combat, as they mentioned. The Fire Dragon does really quick AoE damage. The Earth Dragon does big AoE hits that are really kind of slow. The Water Dragon slows a lot, and I believe the Air Dragon just sort of moves really quick and can get on you. The Elder Dragon just sort of combines all these and just blows your face off. So these will be really cool, and this is going to change the way the dragon objective is. Right now, you just sort of AFK take dragon, and if you get interrupted, oh god, but...
So it's a more aggressive fight if you're trying to take the objective, because not only do they have to worry about you, but these new dragons that are all going to be doing different stuff. And it'll be interesting to see what the strategies are for taking them out, because I believe there's probably going to be different positioning.
Indeed. Next up is the Mage Update. This is the mid-season magical change that we're doing to a lot of mages. Not all, but a lot. The biggest and probably hugest change to characters is Cassiopeia and Malzahar. But let's talk about Malzahar first. He's first on our list, and he's getting a new passive called Void Shift. Whenever he's not taking damage for 23 seconds, this is from turrets, massive monsters, or champions, he'll be able to shrug off the first CC or first chunk of damage by a significant amount for 1 second, which means he basically ignores crowd control for 1 second and reduces all incoming damage by 90% the first time he takes a hit after not taking a hit for 23 seconds. The rest of the abilities haven't changed too much. They replaced his AoE ground puddle with Void Swarm, which allows him to summon a Voidling. Whenever that Voidling attacks a champion, a large monster, an epic monster, or assists in a kill, he will spawn a new Voidling that has the same duration remaining. And when he has 3 of these Voidlings up, they all gain bonus attack speed. So basically you can summon 1,000,000 of these gosh dang things. It'll be crazy. Now, his puddle did get moved to Nethergrasp. Nethergrasp no longer has flat damage assigned to it, but instead creates that negative AoE zone of energy around them, and it deals damage to all enemies and the oppressed target inside the zone as that maximum health magic damage per second.
Kind of think of it as the AoE that Lysandra does with her ultimate, but instead of, being the center of the damage, you're putting it onto another target and suppressing them instead.
Other things of note, the silence on Call of the Void was brought down pretty significantly, and Malefic Visions now restores percentage mana rather than flat mana.
Mr. Brand, his main spells have not changed, but his passive is what is his new bread and butter. It has the standard dealing maximum health damage as magic damage over time, so his tank burning skills are still the same. But on the third stack, the blaze becomes unstable over a few seconds and detonates, dealing a large percentage of the target's maximum health as area of effect.
This is amazing.
So essentially what he does is he blows through his combo of W, E, and then Q. And then what happens is he gets a huge circle, kind of, the best way to describe it is an area about the same as Darius's around the target, and it kind of has like a fuse around it. And when the fuse is up, he deals damage to himself and anything in that circle. It will also put down the blaze, I believe. I'm not sure if it sticks a blaze on it, but from what I've seen from their videos and stuff like that, it looks like it passes.
The initial target is immune to blaze effects for like 6 seconds,
Yeah.
and everyone else can get it from that point.
So you can hit one person, they run into another thing that has two, that sets it off, and I can't wait to see this played because that gives a lot more burst damage to Brand, because a lot of time I've had the problem of it's so close, but now it's just like, and 3 stacks.
Well, something like this will actually give a lot of playstyle to the idea of using E to spread blaze. Because right now, oftentimes you just use E to set up your other abilities rather than using it for its intended role. And so I think there will actually now be a decision like, do I do a sear into an E into a W so that I can get full stacks off on multiple people? Or do I still use my E to set up my stun into my pillar? I mean, there's just lots of cool things.
I think also his E will be a more potent clearing tool, because then you'll use the E to spread the conflagration and then get the little circles off the minions, because it will also stack on that. So you're just kind of blowing up mid lane like, woo!
Lots of cool stuff on Brent. Vladimir didn't change too terribly much, except for Tides of Blood. Sanguine Pool additionally slows a lot, and Hemoplague now restores health. But the big thing is the change to Tides of Blood. Now, Tides of Blood is crazy because it lets him slow down and channel and create this AoE that's going to deal increased damage and slow targets. So this functions very similar to like a Vi Charge or a Varus Q ability, where you basically get to slow yourself down, sort of build up this attack, and then blow it out. And you can use this to slow people and deal a lot of magic damage. Additionally, they also changed Transfusion just a little bit, because you no longer have that bonus from Tides of Blood to stack up. You gain Crimson Rush when you use Transfusion. This will basically give you a bonus movement speed and damage to help complement the slightly reduced damage you'll be doing with Transfusion.
I kind of like the fact that it gives them movement speed, so now after that second hit, you kind of stay on them, so because after like the 1 or 2 hits, they usually kind of back off. They're like, I'm going to go in, up, I got hit with the siphon.
That's a big thing that Vladimir suffers is he doesn't have any chase tools. So I feel like you can Transfusion into Transfusion, and then run towards them, and then with that bonus move speed, build up a Tides of Blood into a slow.
Now, I wonder if you can go Sanguine Pool into Tides of Blood. I bet they're 2 separate channels.
You cannot use Sanguine Pool while... I'm sorry, you can't use Tides of Blood while you're in Sanguine Pool.
You Tides of Blood, Sanguine.
Oh, no, it interrupts the cast.
That's what I figured. But either way, I figured it would be a little interesting. He is going to get significantly hurt because they removed an item that Vladimir needed heavily during the...
They removed Will of the Ancients, but we're going to talk about items a little bit further down. Zyra got changed quite a lot. She no longer has her passive of, I'm going to sprout up and shoot somebody's face.
Yeah, because it's one of the weakest abilities.
It's improved death. You know, it's the same as Karthus. Karthus' improved death is garbage. Zyra's improved death was garbage. Now she periodically spawns seeds around her. She just sort of pinches them off around her. It has the same effect as they currently do. I don't believe that it grants them vision, but I have to double check that. They changed her kit just slightly, tweaking with the ability power ratios just a little bit. She can still spawn seeds of her own with rampant growth. However, it has the new passive of granting her plants extra hit points. So overall, you'll get a Zyra that's much more focused on creating plants rather than sort of zone control, which is good and bad.
What's really nice is now that she's going to have a more kind of open, kind of self-warding, essentially, where you can kind of keep track of where yours are. And if you're in a lane for long enough, you're going to have seeds moving.
Seeds.
Yeah. Mr. Vel'Koz.
So Vel'Koz didn't change too terribly much. However, his organic deconstruction got tweaked a little bit to deal better true damage and have better scaling. And his lifeform disintegration ray basically has changed a little bit to deconstruct champions and cause them to become researched, which is a new buff. It will deal true damage to research champions, but it will no longer deconstruct them. So you can't build up stacks of your passive on them, but you're doing true damage with your ultimate. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, if you get someone cornered and you're just like, well, you're stunned, I'm just going to kind of whittle you down now. Goodbye.
Cassiopeia got some significant changes. First things first, she no longer uses the boot slot. So she gets 4 movement speed per level, I believe is what they settled on. It might change. But there are a lot of other big changes. Noxious Blast didn't get too much of a change. She gets the move speed burst still. Miasma is the big one. Shoots out an arc of this venom rather than a pool. And it deals damage, obviously, but it blocks movement abilities while they're standing in it. Very similar to Poppy's ability to stop charges. Twin Fang no longer requires them to be poisoned to refresh. However, it applies auxiliary effects if they are poisoned. So it only gets the heal, and it only refunds mana if they die. Petrifying Gaze, much the same. But yeah, crazy stuff. Movement blocking abilities on a ranged character like Cassiopeia, who's sort of like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And the ability to forego boots for more AP, I think is going to be pretty cool.
What's really interesting is if you look at the characters that have been changed, they are all taking mechanics from characters that have been released recently and improving their kits. So you have kind of that Alawi seed issue with Zyra. You've got Malzahar using kind of more suppressed stuff, that passive dodge that other characters are kind of using. The Poppy charge. It's really cool to see that they're like, all right, some of these characters are not doing so well because of these factors. Why don't we add these to some of the mages that are lacking in the solo queues and then the rank play and make them more interesting? I can't wait to play Cassiopeia. Like, her new kit sounds fantastic.
Indeed. Now, other small changes, just tweaking with things. Annie's Tibbers is now a lot easier to control, but the damage on her kit went down overall. Swain now sends a lot of mini characters with his Decreepify fix. Fiddlesticks now has the ability to gain movement speed if he channels or stands still. Ziggs can automatically destroy turrets below a certain health threshold. Syndra allows all kinds of new stuff to happen with her passive, making that sort of powering up feel more relevant. Zareth gets more barrages. Anivia now has an expanding Glacial Storm, and Vigar now gets even more AP for doing even more things. And it reduces mana cost too, which is great.
There were a lot of changes to the items. Tear of the Goddess now gives plus mana and refunds a portion of your mana whenever you cast a spell, and the mana charge granting additional maximum mana is still there.
Same thing we're used to. However, it no longer has flat mana regeneration on it.
Yep. Catalyst of Aeons gives you plus mana, plus health, and a portion of your damage taken is gained as mana. Spending mana restores a portion spent as health up to a cap. So it kind of cycles between the more damage you take, you get more mana. The more mana you spend, the more health you receive. So it's kind of like a filtering system.
Chalice of Harmony is much the same. However, it restores health if your health is below your mana, and it restores mana if your mana is below your health. It's pretty cool. Hextech Revolver no longer has spell vampirism on it. However, damaging an enemy with basic attacks will shock them for bonus magic damage that scales with your AP. This does have a cooldown, however. So, better last hitting, better assaulting, good stuff overall. Lost Chapter is a new AP item that's going to build out of a ton of stuff and build into a ton of stuff. It grants flat mana, flat ability power, and upon leveling up, it'll restore, I think, 20% of your maximum mana, maybe 15%. I think 20% is the Merlinomicon finished version. Fiendish Codex, it's going to remain much the same. It's just going to look a little different.
We have 2 new items that are going to be building out of the Hextech devices.
Oh, dear Lord.
So we have the Hextech GLP 8000. It has ability power, health, and mana, and it builds out of the Hextech Revolver, a Catalyst, Aeons, and Gold. It has a passive where a portion of your mana damage is taken. It kind of has the Catalyst passive with the Hextech Gunblade active that gives a slow and deals magic damage. Hextech Proto Belt 01. It gives ability power, health, and cooldown reduction. Builds out of a revolver, a Kindle Gem, and gold. And it gives you a dash to unleash a ring of firebolts that deals magic damage. So it pushes you forward and deals an AoE, so it's like a semi-charge.
I don't actually like this item very much. I think it gives too much power to certain mages, but that's just me.
Ari.
Yeah. Other magical items that got changed. The Archangel Staff got changed to have the same mana function that Tear the Goddess has, where it refunds mana based on what's spent, rather than giving flat amounts. Morellonomicon also got changed a little bit to refund mana based on when you level up. It no longer has flat mana regeneration. The Athene's Holy Grail got changed to have the new Harmony effect, where you regenerate health based on where you're at. Pretty cool stuff. Other items, Roa got changed a little bit to be the health gain mechanic, similar to the other Catalyst items. And poor Will of the Ancients is gone.
Now give him.
He's gone.
He will now join the other items who we've lost.
Locket, Mana Potion,
Heart of Gold,
Philosopher's Stone, Avarice Blade.
Abyssal Scepter. It also gained the.
I thought that moment of silence was going to be much longer.
It wasn't around as long.
Abyssal Scepter, indeed, now has a scaling MR reduction level, and Zonia's Hourglass now has cooldown reduction and less AP. But yeah, that's really it for the Mage update. We're going to be seeing a lot more hard numbers as this gets closer to launch, and we'll be happy to report them to you as we get this patch. So stay tuned and look forward to these new mages.
Yeah, we tried to be as informed as we could about this, but due to the fact that they didn't even give us numbers on the official launch,
yeah, we have
still
PvE
working.
numbers, but they're not final, so we're not going to give those to you guys and get your hopes up. I gave you a couple, but again, not hard numbers. We'll keep you guys posted.
In skin news, hey Axis, do you like the theme of Dark Souls and Bloodborne?
These look more like Warhammer
I
to me.
don't know. They look more like Bloodborne to me. But
Really?
first off, we have the Iron Inquisitor Kale, a 750 skin that looks phenomenal. She kind of has like a death mask on. Her armor's completely different. She has like blood red wings. All sorts of crazy kind of details and stuff for 750. I don't think she has a voice pack to it, but a gorgeous skin. And as always, I will pick up anything Kale. Kale.
Cursed Reverend Nocturne has a character that sort of has these the same sort of Inquisitor vibe. He's got giant blades. He's got sort of a spooky Inquisitor's cowl. He's got a little like a hunted dude on his back. It's kind of neat. Nothing too bonkers, but definitely neat. And then of course Black Scourge Singed. Got a really cool shield. Got a really cool cape. It's got a really spooky looking face.
He has a dead guy in his like back chest.
That's right. So overall, these are definitely niche skins. These are definitely unique skins in terms of League of Legends. So if you're looking for sort of a custom look, these might be the way to go. And we're going to move on now to patch 6.8. Taric came out in this patch, and we'll be giving our review of him next week when we had more time to play with him. He has been banned in every single game that I have played. Oh my god.
I only was able to play him once in a practice game to see how things flowed, and even then I had to fight for him.
First things first on the patch balancing notes is Echo. Echo got nerfed because Tank Echo is OP. They reduced the percent of missing health that his W ability, Parallel Convergence, does. It now has better AP scaling, 1% per 33 from 1 per 50, and now has a minimum damage against minions and monsters to help with his jungling. Phase Drive, the flat damage went down by 10 at the first rank and 30 at the last, scaling from 40 to 140, from 50 to 170. However, the ratio doubled from 0.2 to 0.4. My boy Galio, my favorite mid, got a slight buff, reducing the mana cost of Righteous Gust by 10 per point and increasing the movement speed bonus by 10% and 7% and 4% and 6%, and then reduced it by 2%. So it goes 30 to 50 from 20 to 52. Overall, helping early game Galio because his mana costs are ridiculously bonkers. Fix his mana cost, please. Graves changed the way that his AD scaling goes on his auto attacks. He now gets 0.7 to 1.0 from 0.75 to 1.1 total AD. However, the multitude of bullets on crit went from 8 to 6. However, these critical bullets now deal 140% damage. Infinity Edge will bring them up to 160. So you can deal more damage with Critical Strike now, and it's much more consistent.
Kog'Maw, Caustic Spittle, the armor shred on it went up from 12 to 28 to 20 to 28. So early game, more armor shred, be able to take out those tanks. And his W, Arcane Barrage, the base hit went all down significantly in all ranks from 10 15, 20, 25, 30 to 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. So his on-hit damage is significantly less.
Indeed. Master Yi got changed a little bit. He's a little bit too strong right now, and they agreed with me. Highlander's cooldown went up by 10 seconds at all ranks. The duration dropped to 7 from 10 seconds. However, the extension on a killer assist went from 4 to 7. So now, it's more important to know when to use Highlander rather than just pushing it at the start of a fight. Miss Fortune's W ability, Strut, has had the attack speed duration increased. The cooldown of it increased from 8 to 12. However, Love Tap no longer extends the duration, and the cooldown begins on cast rather than when the buff expires. While it's on cooldown, applying Love Tap will reduce its active cooldown by 2 seconds, and this will scale with cooldown reduction. Olaf has slight changes to his survivability. Vicious Strikes now provides 14 to 22 lifesteal instead of 9 to 21. Ragnarok now provides 10 more bonus armor and MR at every level, from 10 to 30 to 20 to 40. Rumble has had a slight change and is now recommended for jungle. The Flame Spitter damage to minions has had its damage basically regularized, so it now deals full damage to minions from 50%, and the Equalizer cooldown has dropped by 10 at all levels.
It's kind of interesting to see how he's evolved from a top lane to a jungle.
Well, I mean, he's a good jungle. He's got a good AoE. He's got a shield. He's got mobility tools. It all works.
Yeah. The global splash unification has continued. A lot more characters are getting their skins unified throughout all countries and regions. So if you have a character and you don't recognize the splash art right away, that's probably because
poor
of that
Darius.
Yeah, a lot of them. Like, a lot of them are from other countries. A few of them have been tailored to be brand new, which is kind of nice. But
I mean, the one I think I don't like the most is the Aurelia one. She just looks weird.
Everybody's been saying that. Aurelia looks really goofy. They used a lot of the
she's got
Chinese...
a 7 head, is what she's got.
Set literally, like, up and then angled down.
Well, no. Like her, instead of a 4 head, she's got a 7 head. It keeps going up.
Better nerf for Aurelia's hairline.
That's right. Next up to item changes. Iceborne Gauntlet, the base attack damage bonus on your attack went from 125 to 100. Poor Iceborne Gauntlet. Frozen Fist, rest in peace. Mercurial Scimitar, the total cost went from 3,700 down to 3,600. The combined cost also dropped by the same amount. However, the total AD went from 75 to 65. Corrupting Potion grants 125 health per charge and 75 mana per charge from 150 and 50. The cooldown on Feast dropped by 5 seconds, so it is now 30 seconds from 25. Secret Stash, the passive that gives you biscuits on your health potions, has had its instant health regeneration drop by 5, and the instant mana regeneration has gone up by 5. So this is actually good for me. This caters more to my playstyle. Grasp of the Undying, instead of reducing what combat quote-unquote means for this ability, they've instead reduced the maximum health steal from 3% to 2.5%.
So this went from a 5% initially when it was introduced to 2.5, and I have a feeling it's probably going to go
Well, it went from 5 to 3, and now it's down to 2.5.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep going down. Oh well, they don't like take top lanes too much.
Yeah.
Too much game impact. And like a day ago, Doom Train Scion came out, and it's awesome, by the way, if you were wondering.
Doom? You mean the Robo-Science game?
Doom Train Scion is his name.
I like how now you start to like it a bit more, because originally you said it was ugly.
I do think it's ugly. Seeing it in game is horrifying.
Why? No.
He turns into a Doom Train. Do you understand? When a Doom Train is coming for you, you stop going, what a goofy guy. You go, there's a Doom Train after me.
There's a Doom Train.
But that's really it for official news, guys. We're running really long on time, so we're going to skip questions this week, but we normally take 2. If you have a question for us about the show, about League of Legends, about Spastic Gaming, about upcoming gaming news, about anything really, we'll answer even personal questions. We're pretty wild. You can post them in the comment section below. You can send them to our email at spasticgaming@gmail.com or post them in our Facebook, Twitter, or website, all of which are linked in the information down below. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/spasticgaming. You can go to that to get exclusive features, bonus content, and more. Just take a look. If there's something you like, We definitely appreciate the support.
We've been experimenting with shows. Thanks to the Patreon support, we are looking to do another kind of side podcast. We've been doing some experiments with kind of like formatting and what we talk about, and we have ideas. It's just we're working out, so it's not kind of like throwing it against the wall, and everybody's like, "Oh, why would you make that?" Like the Arrogant Review.
These are old memes.
I grew up on the wrong side of the tracks.
Even Axis.
And Water Elemental.
I wish I was dead.
Oh.
Personal